I'm a little bit hesitant about doing this kind of video, but I'm willing to give this a try. I'm pretty bad at explaining stuff, but I'm willing to do my best for this video. Hey everyone, this is me. I'm the one responsible for animating all those MikuMikuDance videos over the past 5 years for Sonic Team Studios. And I'm willing to give this a shot and see how it goes well. So if you're really liking what you see here, give it a like, and I'll probably do more in the future on how to do MikuMikuDance animation tutorial videos. So let's start off with the basics. So in the link in the description below, I'm going to provide you the link to the program that I've been using for the whole time. It's learnmd.com, which gives you the program itself, and it gives you the several links that you might find interesting. The first one we're going to focus on is download the latest version of MikuMikuDance. It'll take you right there. Depending on your Windows system, there are two options. One is the 9.32 and the other one is 9.32 64-bit. If you're not too sure which operating system that you're using, I would highly recommend to go to Windows, go to System, head to About, and then it'll tell you the system type 64-bit operating system, x64 base processor. Once you see what kind of system you're using, I will click it and it will automatically download it for you. Now, before you open a program, you need to scroll down. And then here are several install additional software which are required for this program. So again, if you're using 32-bit, I will download these files. If you're using 64-bit, I would download these files. So we're gonna go one by one to install these programs. And as a side note, I will scroll down just a bit that tells you how to install the C# distributables by switching off the S mode on Windows 11 users. So there's a little note for that. So we're gonna click on this and we're gonna download it. And then we're gonna have to download everything here. Once you click out, head to the next link, and then you download it. We're gonna download everything. And then as for the DirectX 9 and user runtime, this is gonna be a really big file, so I would, if you have a good internet connection, this will probably take you in about a few minutes, but if not, then I will just wait around and wait for this to finish downloading. So don't worry, this is very safe file. So once you downloaded all those three, so we're gonna have to open up this program here. So anyway, I already installed it, so once you click all the OKs and whatever, then it'll be able to install it for you. Once you finish installing that, go ahead and install this program. And so I already had this installed, so I don't need to do anything. So just click on a couple of next user agreements and all of that, and it'll be able to automatically install it for you. So once you download this folder, the egg setup only, so don't worry about how much there is, but you need to focus on is the ds setup.exe. That's what you need to open up. So accept the agreement. I already have this installed. I don't need to do anything. Just click on next, let's install, and it'll install it on your phone. Excuse me, it will automatically install it for you. So once you have the three programs for install, now you'll be able to open up MikuMikuDance. So there should be a folder on the downloads. Extract the folder. Just extract all, which I don't need to because I already have one. So yeah, once you have all that, now you'll be able to open up MikuMikuDance animation. So if you want to make some good quality animation, I highly recommend to head over to View, Screen Size, and adjust the width and height of your preference. If you want to make 720p videos or 1080p videos or even up to 4K videos, you have to adjust the width and height for the animation videos. Since we got the MikuMikuDance installed, you want to look for any models and backstages, backgrounds, and anything that you want to begin your animation. So the only place I would recommend starting is a DeviantArt. Most of the MikuMikuDance modelers just upload their models on DeviantArt, and I know there are some other places where they upload, but most of them are locked behind Patreon and Japanese sites. So we're gonna have to start out with DeviantArt as a starter for most MikuMikuDance users. So once you find a model you want to download, sometimes they usually provide a link where to download it, or in some other cases on the free download section. But since they have the link provided where to download the model, I would highly recommend it clicking on the link. And sometimes the links don't work, so you're gonna have to find some other places where you can download the models. For the stages itself, I'm gonna have to start off looking up around DeviantArt. There are some really good ones, so don't forget to credit these modelers. So once you find a stage that you want to download, just check to make sure if there's any link available to download. If not, just click on the free download button and make sure you give proper credit to these modelers. Just be very wary about what kind of files they compress into. Sometimes they might compress it into a RAR file, so I will highly recommend you setting up to extract the RAR files. So once you got the stage and model ready, go back to MikuMikuDance, click on to model, add to your downloads. We're gonna load up the Yu Watanabe model. Most of the models only support on .pmx and .pmd, so keep that in mind. We're gonna load the model, and there she is. Once you do that, I will click on View, thickness of edge line, lower it down to 0, no more black lines, or if you want to keep it, it's based on your preference, whether you like it or not. We're gonna load the stage file. Sometimes the files are the X files, but there's a way you can load that kind of file if it's not PMX or PMD. So I will click on camera, and on an accessory manipulation, click on load. Click on it. It's gonna take a while for it to load, and there you go. To get rid of these grid lines, click on View, unclick Display Coordinates. If you want to keep the shadow or not, based on your preference, I will click off Display Ground Shadow. To get familiar with the program, this is the preview of the animation that you're making. These are the camera works, the magnifying to zoom in, zoom out, and the directional is to, you can literally move the camera anywhere that you want, or just simply right click the mouse to do that, or just scroll up to zoom in or zoom out if you have a mouse. And these are the bone frame manipulation. This is where you manipulate the bones for the camera and the 3D models. Copy and paste, reverse, reselect, delete. And the interpolation curve, which we're gonna go through that in a little bit. Model manipulation, which you manipulate the model whatever you want it to display. Which in this case, if we go to model, if you want her model to disappear, just uncheck display. Want her to reappear, just click on display. The bone manipulation, this is where you mess around with the bone. For example, if we click on any bone if we rotate it, the bone itself will move. And sometimes most models have facial manipulation available, but sometimes they don't. There are a variety of ways you can animate the character. And this is the view of the camera. And this is a play where you play the animation that you animated. Now to get started on animation, I would highly recommend to work on the camera itself. So we're gonna have this camera zoom in. And if you want to keep the camera the way it is, make sure you click on register and it locks in the bone itself. So we're gonna have this camera zoom out of her. And it's very important, if you want to keep the camera itself the way it is, just click on register. For an interpolation curve, it just smoothes out the movement of the camera. Also for the 3D models. So we're gonna enter the 0 starting key to the end keyframe, which is 40. Once you play it, so I'm gonna have this. If you want to extend the camera movement if you want to extend the camera movement just a little bit, I will move this bone keyframe. Just extend it to however you like it. I will change the keyframe to 80. Now as for animating the model itself, so what I usually do most of the time is, since we're on the starting point, we're gonna have to move the bones one by one. So if I want to move the right arm, just go to, is based on your preference on which bone which frame your bone wants to move. So I'm gonna move this bone. Make sure there are some bones, sometimes the move option is not available depending on the bone itself, so the rotate is available because the only thing I can do is rotate the bone itself. So once your bone is set up, make sure you click on register. Make sure you adjust the interpolation curve to adjust the movement of the bone. Once you click play, the bone itself moved. The same thing applies for facial animation. Just make sure you start, if you want the character to blink, just make sure you start the setting frame and then adjust the facial animation. And you click on play, and this character can blink. Animation takes a while to animate, so it's best for you to take your time on it if you want your animation to be as good as you want it to be. So we're going to select a different bone. Keep in mind on the left side of the screen, the facial, center, body, arms, fingers, legs. Sometimes most of the models have these labels available, but sometimes they do not. But if they do not have them available, I'm gonna have to cover that in a separate video. So once you see the arm section, just click on plus, and there should be this the right arm frame, bone frame that we applied is still there. So we're gonna create a new frame for the left arm. Just set up your starting frame. Just make sure to click on register. And however you want to extend it to, make sure you adjust the bone of this arm. And just click register again to end the bone frame for that specific bone. Adjust the interpolation curve. Click on play. So let's start off with the body. For the neck part, I'm gonna start the starting bone frame. Click on register. Click on rotate. Adjust the 3D model of the set. Adjust the 3D model of that bone. Adjust the interpolation curve. So let's just say that if you don't like how the right arm it moves, what I would do in this case is make sure you click on select, click on the bone you want to adjust, make sure you copy the second bone frame, and then click on paste. This will create the identical set bone frame for the zero frame. I would highlight I would highlight these two bone frames. You could adjust it. So once you do that, the animation plays differently. Let's just say that you want to increase the height for the right arm. Select the bone frame you want to adjust. Click on rotate. Adjust the bone itself. Once you finish that, make sure you click on register to overwrite the previous bone frame. And always make sure to adjust the interpolation curve every time you will create a new adjusted bone frame. To add audio for the animation, I will go on File, click on the only audio file it can only support is the WAV file. So click on that. Then click on the WAV file available. And this will display the audio file that you can use to animate the mouth movements. If you don't hear the audio, just go on File, click on Play WAV with Frame. As for the mouth movements, it really depends on how they're talked. So I will adjust the bone sets for the mouth animation to however it's being talked on the other file. So make sure you create the starting animation for the facial section. Sometimes it's not highlighted, so I would double check to make sure that it's created at the starting bone frame. So adjust the mouth movement of that animation.
Today,
And that is how you can animate the mouth movements by using the audio file on the animation. So in order to render the animation, make sure you adjust the starting frame and the ending frame on how far you want to render the animation. Since I don't want to render up to 80 frames, so let's just adjust that to 42. Once you have that all set up, go to File, go to Render AVI file. There is an option to render the picture file. There is an option available for you. As for an animation, click on Render to AVI file. So we're going to create a file name. Click on Save. And there is an option for you to create the animation in 30 frames per second, but I'm going to have to stick to 60 frames per second. Make sure the recording is from 0 to up to the ending frame where you want how far you want it to render. Make sure this is checked, and make sure the video compressor is on AVI raw, and click on OK. Most of the time people upload the AVI files onto YouTube, but I usually prefer to re-render it again up so I can re-render this file into MP4. Just make sure you have an editing software that is capable of rendering to MP4 format. Make sure the video output you have on MikuMikuDance matches to the video you're gonna render on MP4. Which in this case I'm gonna have this video rendered on 1080p 60 frames per second. So if you have the AVI rendered up to 1080p 30 frames per second, I would select an option to render at 1080p 30 frames per second. But since I have the video file animation rendered to 1080p 60 frames per second, I'm just going to render in 60 frames per second. Depending on the length of animation, it's going to take a while to render up to MP4 format.
today,
And that is your basics on the MikuMikuDance animation, how to start up using the program, how to install several softwares to support the program. I hope I explained well enough for you to understand how everything works. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial or next 3D animation, whenever that comes up. Thank you and have an awesome day.